Hello, everyone. We're going to be starting our live stream very soon. I'm glad to see you all there. Hello. We've got a great little live in store today for the SkyTeach community. Hi, hello there. So I'm juggling with a few devices here because we're live on VK, we're live on YouTube, and we're live on Instagram at the same time. Hello, everybody. Hi. So don't you worry. Feel free to send in all your questions, comments during the live stream. I've got people helping me out. So I'll get the questions all summarized in a document, whether you're on Vkontakte, whether you're on YouTube, on Instagram. Don't hesitate. Don't be shy. Ask away. Send in your questions. Send in your comments. I'll receive them all in a document, and I'll do my best to answer them all, of course. Welcome. Now, because of the devices, because of the way things work, I think you know, on VK and on YouTube, I'm going to be able to share a presentation, which we will follow. On Instagram, however, it does not work. I cannot share a presentation at the same time, but don't you worry. I'll explain everything as if there was no presentation. The presentation will just be a very nice addition to those ones on VK and on YouTube. You'll have a visual in addition to just my explanations. Today, we're going to be talking about building fluency. Oh, I see there's already a question, where am I from? That's a long story, but it is going to feed a little bit our live stream today. I like to think of myself as a citizen of the world. I was born in Belgium, but very quickly, when I was only 6 months old, my parents already moved. My father was working in a big multinational company, so we moved around a lot when I was a kid, practically every 3-4 years. So my childhood, in a nutshell, my childhood was mainly in Canada and the US, teenage life in the US and in Belgium, France, and adult life in France and in Russia now. I'm live streaming from Russia, yes, by the way, right now, in St. Petersburg. I hope that answers the question. And so I am kind of a bilingual, and that has helped me a lot with the topic we're going to be talking about today. I am all about building fluency with my students. I'm a teacher of English, just like you. I've been teaching for a while. I've now partnered up with Tom Wiseman. We've been working together for a while, and now we also create materials for teachers to help build fluency, automate grammar, and we do teacher training courses. Hello. Perfect. So as everybody is joining in, I suggest we kick off with our topic of the day, building fluency. And the idea really is to build fluency and accuracy in tandem. I like to say that we want to marry fluency and accuracy. I don't know whether it's best to call it accurate fluency or fluent accuracy. I love both. We're going to be talking about that today because to me as a teacher, I mean, that's always my objective with students, with my students, and it's my objective for myself, all right? I live in Russia, so of course, I study Russian. I've got to learn to speak Russian. I live here. I've got to learn the language. It's only natural. But if any of you know Russian, speak Russian, or have studied Russian, Russian grammar is very different to English grammar. There are cases, for example, this is something that we absolutely do not do in English or in my other language, French. We do not change the endings of adjectives and of nouns based on their function in a sentence. So that at first was a bit of a struggle for me, of course. And you know what? I know that there's been a trend, there's been a fashion of saying that grammar is evil when learning a language. I'm not in that family of thought. Simply because, and this is not just about my students, simply because for me, speaking Russian, I could just ignore cases, you know? I could just pretend that cases don't exist in Russian and just get by like that, but it feels wrong. I see that when I'm speaking Russian and I make mistakes with cases and so on, I see a little and sometimes there are misunderstandings. So same thing with any language. I'm not saying that grammar is the only goal, but you know, when speaking a foreign language, if I know that I'm making a mistake every 2-3 words, it hurts my confidence and it hurts my fluency. So that's why I'm very much all about this building fluency, building an accurate fluency or fluent accuracy. It is not the only sole goal when learning a language, of course, but it does help. Well, I like the comment, it's not so difficult. Agreed. I entirely believe I can learn to speak Russian fluently. That is, of course, my goal. And I can do this. Right, just a second, there we go. So just for those of you on VK and on YouTube, I'm starting the presentation. And yes, that kind of brings us to my first question. Like, can I learn to speak Russian fluently? So for instance, like a simple phrase in Russian, "Я пошел в молока." What level Russian do you think this is? Are we talking A1, A2, B1, B2? "Я пошел в магазин, потому что у нас не было молока." The communicative goal is not too difficult, right? I mean, it's just me saying where I went off to and giving a reason why. All right, A2? A2? A2, B1? B2 even. It's difficult to judge when we're not a professional teacher of that particular language. That is also a great argument to always recommend to students a professional teacher. It is not about having a native teacher. The most important is having a professional teacher who knows what they're talking about, what they're teaching, who have that expertise. You cannot just go randomly in a street in any country and ask any native speaker of that language to teach you that language. It's not especially going to go well. So, okay, we're around A2, B1, B2. Well, let me walk you through what goes on in my head when I need to construct a sentence like this, if I don't automate grammar. Я пошел, wait. Я, I'm a man, so я пошел, не пошла, я пошел. Я пошел, я пошел. Wait, is this one time, one direction, or is this a recurring event that I do every day? No, I'm talking about a one-time thing. So, совершенный вид, я пошел, в магазин. Где или куда? Which case do I need? It's not в магазине, it's в магазин, okay. Потому что у нас. Okay, in English it's I have, but in Russian we use that different case. У нас родительный падеж. And then we have не, ничего. It's again another родительный падеж. Oh my gosh. That's a lot of grammar for me to think about. If I don't automate this, I'm going to make mistakes at every 2-3 words in this very simple sentence. That can't fly. That can't fly. If I think about all these things while speaking Russian, I won't learn to speak English, to speak Russian fluently. I'm going to hesitate. I'm going to make mistakes. It's going to hurt my confidence. It's going to take me time to develop this basic phrase. And the result, we all know, is that, well, if there's a real conversation in Russian, the people will have moved on in the conversation. They will have gone to another topic, another subject, and I'm going to have to pause everybody and go, guys, do you remember 2-3 minutes ago we were talking about something? I have something to share about that. Yes, you remember, guys? So let's come back to that. Guys, я пошел в магазин, потому что у нас не было молока. It's not fluent. It's not fluent. That's not what I want to do. That's not how I want to speak Russian. And same thing for my students when they're learning English. I don't want them to be thinking about all these elements while speaking. These things should kind of fall in automatically. We want them to use these things a bit like a native speaker, a bilingual. This grammar kicks in automatically. When you speak a language fluently, we don't think about how we're supposed to say it. We just focus on what we want to say, and the how just falls in automatically. We want to help our students achieve that, and that is the topic of today. There are a lot of things to discuss on this, of course. I mean, we can talk about building the fluency as well, giving the students opportunities to develop their fluency through speaking activities. But today, we can do that at a later time. Today, we want to focus on automating, making that grammar automatic, helping our students develop the skill so that the grammar falls in automatically. We want to build reflexes. I love this topic, and believe you me, once I started incorporating this kind of practice in my lessons, it made the world of a difference. Completely. My students developed not just knowledge of English, but they developed in English more rapidly, so much more rapidly. Now, I'm not promising that students are going to stop making mistakes immediately. It takes time. Practice makes perfect. Practice even makes progress. So let's talk about practice today. Now, if we're thinking about fluency, there's definitely a reference I highly recommend. That's Daniel Kahneman. He wrote an amazing book called Thinking Fast and Slow. And in there, he exposes some very, very important theory for us as language teachers. He distinguishes between two different thought processes in the human brain. And when we think of the human brain, usually we think of our logic, we think of our rationale, because, you know, it makes us feel in control. All decisions that I make are conscious. They're logical. I use my logic. You know, when I go to the shop and I need to buy a new shirt, for example, I'll think about my budget. I'll think about my trousers, my shoes, what matches, what doesn't, all these little things. And that's my logic kicking in. But Daniel Kahneman shows us that there's also a second, very different kind of thought process. One that is effortless, one that is automatic and unthinking. Ooh, I just noticed one of the questions. The name of the book again, Thinking Fast and Slow, Daniel Kahneman. By the way, if I do not answer all questions in the stream or anything like that, and if you want a copy of the presentation, feel free to send me a message on any of the social networks. I'll send you the presentation. You'll have the name of the books there. You'll even have a cover of the book. So an example of this unthinking thought process. If any of you have not a digital clock, an analog clock, a good old-fashioned clock nearby, quickly look at the clock and tell me what time it is. What is the time right now? What time is it? While you're telling me, could you repeat the author? Daniel Kahneman. The book, Thinking Fast and Slow. All right. Ooh, different time. You're in a different area of the world. I see 8 p.m. Well, I'm pretty sure when you read the time, 5:15, when you read the time, I'm pretty sure you didn't need to think about it. You didn't go through the whole process. Okay, so the small hand is pointing at the 5. The big hand is pointing at the 3, but it's the big hand, so it's not 3. It's 3 times 5. That's 15. So it's 5:15. No, it happened automatically. 5:15. Very nice. It's something that you've trained so well to do that it's automatic. It's become a skill. And that is very much what we want to help our students do. We want to help them integrate the grammar so that they don't think about it when they're speaking. It becomes automatic. Oh, thank you for those of you writing the name of the book and the author in the chat. That's great. Another example of automatic thinking, if any of you are drivers, if you drive a car, quickly, danger, brake. What foot? If your foot didn't move automatically when I said danger, you want this to be a reflex, right? Absolutely, you want this to be a reflex. So how are we going to help our students develop this? Because, of course, when they're exposed to new knowledge, their logic, their rationale is kicking in. That's when we have our students asking questions, but teacher, why? But teacher, why? And we have to understand them. That's absolutely natural. When you're exposed to new knowledge, your logic is kicking in. You want to understand every little detail of it. But how to transfer that to a skill? Well, we want to help students transfer that directly to a skill and make the skill much stronger than the knowledge. You know, a typical example of this, and I'm sure you all know students like that, upper intermediate students that still make mistakes with he, she, it plus s. Now, let's face it, they are upper intermediate. They have upper intermediate skills. Should I teach present simple again to these students? No. They have the knowledge. They have the knowledge of present simple, of he, she, it plus s. But for some reason, it hasn't transferred to a skill yet. It's not automatic yet. So how are we going to help students develop that? My second reference, this is the second person that has greatly influenced my teaching. I highly recommend it. It goes beyond anything else you can read. Anders Ericsson, just like Daniel Kahneman, a psychologist, Anders Ericsson wrote the book Peak: Secrets from the New Science of Expertise. This great psychologist spent his career researching, talking to experts of all kinds of different fields, musicians, sportsmen, all those kind of experts, technical ones too, to understand how they develop this high level of expertise and try to find out if they have some secret kind of practice that leads to that. And he calls this kind of practice deliberate practice. Deliberate practice is targeted at something very specific. It's not like our typical production practice or our typical practice that we see in textbooks. It's really targeted at something very specific. It sets some specific goals. It provides students with an opportunity to repeat performance and so improve. And there's time for feedback from an expert. That's you, the teacher. This practice, this type of practice is the best type of practice to transfer knowledge to skill, to transfer something from the logical part of our brain to an automatic, a reflex. And this is part of all my lessons now. It's a type of practice that I always include whenever there's something that I can automate. We're talking about vocabulary, lexic, functional language, and of course, grammar. I see already a question. That automatic? Well, I suggest enough theory. Let's do some examples. I really want this session to be very practical for you. So I'm going to give you some examples of activities that you can literally just take and apply to your next lessons. You'll see that. It's wonderful. What Anders Ericsson describes as deliberate practice, we're teachers, we pretty much understand that these are drilling activities. But, you know, not just any kind of drilling activities, because when I first think of drilling activities, I'm reminded of my childhood piano lessons. My mom really wanted an artist, a musician in the family. And it's not that I don't like music. I love music, but she kind of forced piano on us when we were very small. And I have to say, it started off with not the best piano teacher I've witnessed. It was very dull, very boring drill activities that I didn't see the point in, and I quickly gave up. I regret it to this day. I would love to be an excellent piano player, of course, but I'm not. So let's make drilling fun, engaging, and effective for us, the teachers and the students. The first activity I want to show you is a short answer race. You can apply this to practically any grammar tense. In a short answer race, what we're going to do is very simple. We are going to just take a few yes or no questions in that tense, okay? And students are going to need to answer these yes or no questions with a short answer. So are you, Antoine, are you sitting down? Yes, I am. Are you drinking coffee? No, I'm not. This kind of thing. Let's do it. Shall I give you an answer? Shall I give you an example? I've got here with my cards. And if you're on VK on YouTube, you'll see the cards as well. There are cards in the presentation. For you on Instagram, I bought real cards with questions like that. And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to play my own student. So first, I'm going to take all these cards. And let's say I'm an A2 level student and I'm still in the process of automating present continuous. So I've got 6 questions in present continuous. They're yes or no questions. No, what, where, things like that. I just want a short answer. And first time, I'm simply going to go through them with no stress, no timer. So, Antoine, are you sitting down? Yes, I am. Are we dancing? No, we're not. Are you wearing socks? Yes, I am. Is the teacher working? Yes, he is. Are people outside eating ice cream? No, they aren't. Is our teacher drinking coffee? No, he isn't. Pretty good. That was easy. I do it a first time like this slowly. Why? Well, because it's very important for our students to feel in a safe place. Their knowledge needs to be confirmed before they transfer anything to a skill. So first, always do it a first time with the same cards. You do it slowly, no stress. Students need to feel confident. And then, all right, Antoine, you've done it once. You're confident. So let's shuffle the cards and let's do it a second time. But this time, my teacher takes out a timer. Antoine, let's see how fast you can do this. All right, Challenge accepted. Challenge accepted. Let's see how fast I can do this. So I'm already on my phone, so I do not have a timer available right now. If some of you want to time me, go ahead, have fun with it. Let's see how fast I can do this. Are you ready to time me? Do you believe in me? All right. All right. Ready, steady, go. Is our teacher drinking coffee? No, he isn't. Are we dancing? Yes, we are. Is the teacher working? Yes, he is. Are people outside eating ice cream? No, they aren't. Are you sitting down? Yes, I am. Are you wearing socks? Yes, I am. How fast? How fast did I do? How fast was that? 7 seconds? I don't have a timer. My computer and my phone are busy, so I've got to ask you, how fast did I do that in? Let's say 7 seconds 24. Well, ooh, thank you, 7 seconds. Okay, so I'm the student, I did it in 7 seconds. Well, so I've already done it twice, okay? Number one, first time, I did it without a timer, just to feel safe that, hey, I know this, I can do this when I'm not stressed. Second time, I added a timer and it gave me that little incentive to go and do it faster. Now, my teacher wants me to do it faster. Okay. What do you think is a reasonable challenge for me? If I did it in 7 seconds, ooh, I have somebody else saying I did it in 5. So, well, that depends on the timers, apparently, or when you started the timer. Let's say 7 seconds. What do you think is a reasonable challenge for me? Ooh, or maybe 5 is the challenge you want me to achieve. Can I do it in 5 seconds? The challenge is key to this process, to transferring knowledge to skill. If the challenge, it's a challenge. So if the challenge is too easy, you tell me, okay, 7 seconds, Antoine, try to do it in 6 seconds and a half. I'm like, no problem, don't worry about it. I'm not challenged, my brain is not going to transfer efficiently. If the challenge seems impossible, same problem, okay? I'm not going to try because, Antoine, do it in 1 second. What are you talking about? 1 second? That's impossible. I'm not going to try. It needs to be reasonable. So a reasonable challenge. Do you think I can do it in 5 seconds? Yeah? You believe in me? Okay, let's try. So get ready to time me again. I got the same cards. I shuffle them. And I'm going to try to do it in 5 seconds. Ready? If you've got your timers, ready. Okay? Ready? Oh, I just looked at the first card. That's cheating. That's cheating. Ready, steady, go. Antoine, is our teacher drinking coffee? No, he isn't. Are people outside eating ice cream? Yes, they are. Are we dancing? No, we aren't. Is the teacher working? Yes, he is. Are we wearing socks? Yes, I am. Are you sitting down? Yes, I am. How fast did I do? Okay, while you tell me how fast I did, I have a good first question. What's the reason for fast reading? The reason is the challenge. The reason is to help the students transfer from knowledge to skill. And this is why I recommend to read Daniel Kahneman and Anders Ericsson. You will find out in their books, there's a lot of psychology behind it. But basically, we know that practice makes perfect. How can we help students optimize that practice? Make it as efficient as possible in our learning sessions. By challenging them to do it faster, what the brain does is it starts building a reflex. It understands that it can't do it faster and faster if it keeps thinking. So the brain starts building reflexes, identifying, is he? And the student is already ready with their answer. And with this, we're automating grammar reflexes. I hope that answers the question. So yes, what is the reason for fast reading? I'm not trying to develop a fast reading skill specifically in my students. It's the response. That's the most important. Very good. The brain gets tasks. You're absolutely right. And I think you noticed, you're absolutely right. I think the question is also about the fact that I was reading the cards. I mean, my students would be in pairs here. Or if it's an individual, I would be reading the cards. But you know, at first, when this is new to a student, when they're really building their reflexes at the beginning, the only challenge should be time. It shouldn't be about the difficulty. So the first times I let my students, when I read the card, they get to see it and they see what's happening. But as they become better, instead of reading and then showing it on the table, you know, I read the card and I put it down on the table and they can't read it. So they only respond to what they hear. And this procedure I will repeat every time for any skill that I want to develop like this. I do it a first time slow so the student feels safe. I can do this. The knowledge part feels comfortable. Oh, it's okay. I can do this. If I'm at my own pace, I can do this. Then we do it a second time with a timer to set a baseline. And what I love about this is that it's absolutely individual. It's an individual challenge. There's no perfect time. People speak at different rhythms. I have some students in Russia who speak Russian less fast than me just because that's who they are. So this is entirely a personal challenge, a personal goal. And then once we have that baseline, you set your students a challenge and you give them 3 attempts to reach that challenge in that class. So this is a practice section that takes 5-10 minutes of my lesson maximum. And this is the procedure I always follow to build those reflexes. I see a question about coming back to those upper intermediate students. Yes, still making mistakes with he, she, it plus s? That's a good question. Let me show you then what I would do with them. Because I've had to help students a lot with that. I mean, as I said, I'm not going to teach them, whatever methodology you use, student-led, PPP, lexical approach, communicative approach. I love project-based learning, task-based learning, they're content-based learning. Whatever methodology you use, I mean, they're upper intermediate, they know present simple. We don't need to go over it again. But we do need to help them build reflexes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do with them what I call a do-does race. I'm simply going to have cards with different subjects. And subjects, the first time, it might just be pronouns, okay? And students have to just say do or does, depending on the pronoun. And same procedure, we'll challenge them to do it faster and faster. And because they're upper intermediate, we're not going to stop at pronouns because you know what? We don't only use pronouns when speaking. So here I've got 6 cards, for example, with subjects. And let's do a do-does race. Check it out. You can do it while you're watching as well, okay? A do-does race. I want you to say do or does. The moment you hear the subject, say do or does, all right? Ready? Ready, steady, go. The taxi driver, does. Most dentists, do. My crazy neighbor, does. My neighbor's children, do. Brittany's friends, do. A dragon, does. We do it first time at our own rhythm. It's loads of fun. Students have lots of fun with them. And then you shuffle. And then we do a time. One of the students has a timer and is testing the other student. And the student tries to do it faster and faster. And then we set them a challenge, and they have 3 attempts to reach that challenge. I see other questions. Will this practice be useful for B1 students as well? Absolutely. Just adapt it to the grammar tenses that they're learning. You can do a short answer race with pretty much any tense, even present perfect continuous. It'll just expose them to correct questions, and they'll develop that skill to quickly answer. And they'll develop those reflexes. A do-does race, you can take it up a notch as they develop that skill, and instead of saying just do or does, you add actions. Now, I'm insisting on actions because if we're just using verbs like do or does, there's no picture in the mind of the student. It doesn't really correspond to anything. So I like using actions because the students actually build reflexes through visualization. There's a picture going on in their mind. So the do-does race plus action would look something like this. Take 2 cars. Most dentists train to be a clown. Most dentists train to be a clown. Brittany's friends run from wild animals every Monday, for example. A dragon plays outside. A dragon plays outside on Sundays. My crazy neighbor climbs trees. My crazy neighbor climbs trees on Saturdays. The taxi drivers sleep all day. The taxi driver sleeps all day every day. He never works. My neighbor's children bake the teacher. My neighbor's children bake the teacher a chocolate cake every Mondays are tough. So they bring him a chocolate cake. Same procedure, 1 time slowly, 2nd time with a timer, and then challenge and 3 attempts to reach that challenge. And you see how excited you get. It's ultra engaging. Honestly, it's ultra engaging. Students really get into it. They get super excited about the challenge. That's also why 5-10 minutes a lesson is largely enough. Largely enough. You don't want to overdo it because you're going to break your students if you overdo it. 5-10 minutes every lesson, and gradually you just make it a little bit more difficult. Do not start with something too difficult. The goal here is not the difficulty of the grammar. The goal here is to develop the speed at which they can answer. And again, the speed is it's an individual achievement. If a student needs 10 seconds to do that, that's maybe their speed. This is where you're the teacher, you know best, you know? You're the teacher, you know best. It's up to you to feel what is right for the student. And as they develop their skills, mix it up. For example, the short answer race, I'll do short answer races first. I did one with present continuous, but then I'll do a short answer race with different tenses. So we'll mix up, for example, this short answer race I got a short answer race with 2 present simple, 2 present continuous, 2 past simples, for example. Am I standing up? No, I'm not. Do your neighbors wear hats? Yes, they do. Did you buy a new computer last year? No, I didn't. Are you eating? Yes, no, I'm not. Do we live in Germany? No, we don't. Did you text me earlier? No, I didn't. So you see, this is at B1 level. This is perfect. Gradually mixing things.